Kuwait's Crown Prince Sheikh Sabah Al Khalid Al Hamad Al Sabah is set to make his first official visit to Saudi Arabia on Tuesday. Accompanied by an official delegation, this trip marks a significant diplomatic engagement since his appointment. Sheikh Sabah Al Khalid was named Crown Prince earlier this month by Emir Sheikh Meshal Al Hamad Al Jaber Al Sabah. The post had been vacant since Sheikh Meshal became Emir in December. This visit underscores the strengthening of Kuwait-Saudi relations and the Crown Prince's new role in regional diplomacy. A smart robot service has been introduced in Medina to assist pilgrims visiting the Prophet's Mosque. Positioned in the courtyard, the robot is a project by the Ministry of Health in Medina province. It aims to display and broadcast awareness and educational messages, as well as health advice, in over 96 languages. In addition to the robot, 220 male and female volunteers and more than 12 teams from city health authorities are on standby. They provide health and emergency services at the Prophet's Mosque, the roads leading to it, and key locations like Prince Mohammed bin Abdulaziz International Airport, Al Haramain train station, and Quba Mosque. The spokesperson for Iran's elections headquarters, Mohsin Islami, confirmed that electronic voting machines will not be used in the upcoming presidential election on June 28. The Constitutional Council and the Interior Ministry decided that the election will be conducted solely with paper ballots. 6 candidates are running for president: Saeed Jalili, Alireza Zkani, Amir Hossain Qazizadeh Hashemi, Mostafa Por Mohammadi, Mohammad Bakar Kalibaf, and Masoud Pezeshkian. The election campaign began on Sunday and will continue until June 26. Following the tragic helicopter crash that killed President Ibrahim Raisi, first Vice President Mohammad Mokhbar is acting as president until a new president is elected. Former Pakistani Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif congratulated re-elected Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, urging both countries to seize the moment to shape South Asia's future. Let us replace hate with hope, Sharif said, reflecting on Modi's third-term victory. Sharif highlighted the need for cooperation, emphasizing the potential to improve the lives of South Asia's 2 billion people. Modi responded, prioritizing peace, security, and progressive ideas for regional stability and prosperity. Earlier, Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif also extended his congratulations to Modi on social media platform X. Despite strained relations, the leaders exchanged pleasantries, focusing on regional well-being. Meanwhile, Indian External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar met with several regional leaders, including Seychelles VP Hamad Afif, Bhutan's PM Tshering Tobgay, and Bangladesh's PM Sheikh Hasina. The dignitaries attended a banquet at Rashtrapati Bhavan, underscoring India's diplomatic engagement in the region. UN Security Council on Monday overwhelmingly approved its first resolution endorsing a ceasefire plan to end the 8-month war between Israel and Hamas in Gaza. US-sponsored resolution supports President Joe Biden's 3-phase ceasefire proposal, which the US claims Israel has accepted. The resolution calls on Hamas to also accept the plan and urges both parties to implement its terms without delay and without condition, with 14 of the 15 Security Council members voting in favor and Russia abstaining. The resolution's strong support adds pressure on Israel and Hamas to approve the proposal. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken, currently in Israel, has been pushing for more international pressure on Hamas and urging Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to accept the plan. Netanyahu remains skeptical, maintaining Israel's commitment to destroying Hamas. Whether the parties agree to the ceasefire remains uncertain. In Bhensia village of Moradabad district, Maulana Akram, the Imam of a local mosque, was shot dead by unidentified assailants on Tuesday morning. The attackers, apparently known to the Imam, called him out of the mosque before shooting him at point-blank range. Akram, originally from Rampur district, had lived and served in Bhinsia for 15 years. Kadghar police have sent the body for post-mortem examination and deployed additional forces in the village due to the prevailing tension. Further details on the incident are awaited.
तो घर के ही बगल में एक खंडहरनुमा एक जो मकान बना है वहाँ पर वो उनको किसी ने गोली मारी। पुलिस ने मौके पाकर देखा, उनकी वहाँ मृत्यु हो चुकी थी। बॉडी को पोस्टमार्टम के लिए भिजवाया गया है। अभी हम लोग छानबीन कर रहे हैं। आज सुबह ये नमाज़ कराने भी नहीं गए थे, तो रात्रि में अपने घर से ही किसी के बुलाने पर संभवतः बाहर आए होंगे और रात में ही किसी में घटना हुई है। हम लोग इसकी अभी जानकारी कर रहे हैं, जल्दी छानबीन करके घटना का खुलासा किया जाएगा।
कितनी गोलियां लगी सर?
अभी प्रथम दृष्टया एक गोली है।
क्या नाम भाई साहब आपका?
मेरा नाम रिजवान।
रिजवान जी, क्या घटना हुई थी यहाँ?
घटने का तो पता नहीं, लेकिन सुबह इमाम साहब थे मस्जिद के, बड़ी मस्जिद के रहते होंगे।
हाँ।
उनके गोली मारकर हत्या कर दी थी।
अच्छा अच्छा, क्या नाम था इमाम साहब का?
उनका नाम था अकरम मौलाना था।
अच्छा, कहाँ के रहने वाले हैं?
बसवासी के रहने वाले हैं।
अच्छा, यहाँ फैमिली के साथ रहते थे, अकेले रहते?
हाँ, फैमिली के साथ रहते थे। यही
The Supreme Court on Tuesday requested a response from the National Testing Agency, NTA, regarding a plea seeking a fresh conduct of the NETUG 2024 exam due to alleged question paper leaks and other malpractices. Despite these allegations, the court did not stay the counseling process for successful candidates. NETUG 2024 was held on 5th May, with results announced on 4th June. The exam, conducted by the NTA, is crucial for admissions to MBBS, BDS, and Ayush courses across India. The plea, filed by Shivangi Mishra and others, claims the paper leak violated Article 14 of the Constitution, providing unfair advantage to some candidates. The court has tagged this plea with an ongoing one and awaits the NTA's response. The tenure of Bharatiya Janata Party, BJP, National President JP Nadda has been extended until June next year, Union Minister Amit Shah announced on Tuesday. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh proposed the extension, which was unanimously endorsed by the party's executive. The BJP's parliamentary board had already approved the extension. Nadda, who succeeded Amit Shah, was expected to get another term with the upcoming Lok Sabha elections in 2024. At the BJP National Executive meeting, Nadda emphasized the need to win all 9 state elections this year and the general elections in 2024. He also discussed the historic victory in Gujarat and the results of the Himachal polls. The meeting focused on PM Modi's Panch Pran, which includes freedom from colonial remnants, pride in Indian tradition, commitment to development, unity in diversity, and responsible citizenship.
हम सब लोग आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी को अपने दिल की गहराइयों से हार्दिक बधाई देते हैं, जिनके अथक प्रयास, अथक मेहनत हर पल, हर घड़ी, हर दिन, हर वर्ष, हर पल पल देश की सेवा के लिए उन्होंने समर्पित किया। और यही कारण है कि आज भारत पुनः इतिहास रच रहा है कि तीसरी बार लगातार बहुमत के साथ एनडीए की सरकार आ रही है।
Chirag Paswan, the two-time MP from Bihar and chief of Lok Janshakti Party, Ram Vilas, assumed charge as Minister of Food Processing Industries on Tuesday. The 42-year-old, who has solidified his status as the political heir of his late father Ram Vilas Paswan, expressed his commitment to unlocking the sector's potential. The 100-day plan will be ready after discussions with ministry officials, Paswan said, highlighting the sector's direct benefits to farmers. Paswan emphasized the need to expand processing units, particularly in farm-dependent areas, and vote to elevate India's lagging performance in food processing. I have been given an important responsibility, as it concerns crores of farmers, he said. His party's success in the recent Lok Sabha elections, winning all 5 allocated seats, has catapulted him as a new Dalit icon in Bihar politics. His induction into the Narendra Modi government marks a remarkable comeback in Bihar's turbulent political landscape.
Shri Chirag Paswan.
Top BJP leader Amit Shah took charge as Union Home Minister for a second consecutive term on Tuesday. Shah, who has held the portfolio since 2019, was re-elected from Gujarat's Gandhinagar constituency in the recent Lok Sabha elections. Before assuming office, Shah paid homage to fallen policemen at the National Police Memorial in Chanakyapuri, Delhi. The 59-year-old leader continues to hold his portfolio in the Ministry of Cooperation, emphasizing his ongoing influence in both domestic security and cooperative sectors. Shah's dual responsibilities underline his pivotal role in Prime Minister Narendra Modi's cabinet. Aspirants for teacher jobs in residential educational institutions staged a distinctive protest outside Chief Minister A. Revant Reddy's residence in Hyderabad. They seek the implementation of High Court interim orders directing the government to consider meritorious candidates for various teaching positions. The demonstrators halted MLC-elect Teen Mar Mallanna's vehicle, urging him to arrange a meeting with the CM. Despite their efforts, they were unable to meet the CM, leading them to kneel down and protest. Irrigation Minister N. Uttam Kumar Reddy pledges the distribution of white ration cards to all eligible families, as per recent cabinet directives. Cardholders can expect fine rice within 3 months. Additionally, the cabinet approves a 500 rupees per quintal bonus for high-quality paddy farmers. During a review meeting, Reddy, along with MLA Padmavati, discusses development projects with various department officials. Reddy criticized the previous regime for neglecting irrigation schemes in Huzurnagar and Kodada constituencies. Inspecting single-bedroom houses near Ramaswamy Gutta, he vows to complete 2,164 houses left unfinished by the previous government and distribute them by the Telangana Chief Minister A. Revant Reddy reveals plans to establish an education commission, aiming to tackle educational challenges effectively. At an awards ceremony for outstanding students, Reddy underscores the government's commitment to village schools, labeling education spending as an investment. He discloses a 2,000 crore rupees initiative to revamp dilapidated school infrastructure and mentions the Professor Jaishankar Badi Bata program to boost enrollment in government schools. Reddy criticized the closure of single-teacher schools, vowing to maintain them and empower women's groups in school management. Additionally, he proposes a semi-residential system to bridge the gap between parents and children caused by residential schooling. The Justice Pinaki Chandra Ghoselit Judicial Commission delves into alleged irregularities surrounding the Kaleshwaram lift irrigation project. Officials past and present faced questioning regarding planning and execution. Justice Ghose, after inspecting project sites, noted 54 complaints, including land compensation issues. The inquiry, hindered by election-related delays, aims for thorough examination despite extended timelines. Former Engineer-in-Chief Muralidhar and others attended hearings, focusing on rectifying past mistakes and ensuring project integrity. Meanwhile, Justice L. Narasimha Reddy's inquiry into power purchase agreements also gained momentum, with former CMD Prabhakar Rao appearing for questioning. Chief Minister A. Revanth Reddy of Telangana instructed officials to expedite the implementation of the crop loan waiver scheme promised during elections. In a review meeting, he directed officials to draft terms and references for the scheme, aiming to waive loans up to 2 lakh rupees by 15th August. Reddy emphasized the importance of meticulous planning and urged officials to gather farmer data from banks and PACs to ensure all eligible beneficiaries are included. Deputy CM Mallu Bhatti Vikramarka and Agriculture Minister Thummala Nageshwar Rao were among those present.
Thanks for watching video. Don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe.